James is meditating, but then there's a lot to fear.
I feel like the smiling assassin.
Backbiting on all sides.
List of stupid things you've said and done.
Ever-changing loyalties.
So when do I become expendable?
So watch your back.
She's driving out the wall.
In Survivor, Thursday at 8.
Ew, what's it got in that jar? I think you'll find that's gunge. Yeah, I know it's gunge, clever clogs. Here, hang on a minute. He's headed for the fridge, and we're in here. You're right, and he's not washed his hands. Oi. Mum! Well, there she is. Mum! Mum! That was close, eh? Right. Oh, here we go. Are you ready?
Carex antibacterial hand wash helps you give your family the care and protection they need.
Guess what? What? We're on again.
Carex, give it a couple of squirts.
Angelina, I know we've only just met, but there's something I'd really like to ask you.
See?
How much do you think my shirt cost? I got two for £25. They're BS by Ben Sherman. And these Lee Cooper t-shirts were two for £10. All from Matalan. These sandals cost £6. And these shorts were only £8. And as for these pants...
Matalan. Savings you just can't keep to yourself.
Hey?
To help clean your teeth thoroughly, you could use one brush with cross-active bristles, one with a flexible tip, and one with a flexible neck. Or you could use one that has it all. Introducing 3 toothbrushes in one, the new Aquafresh Max Active. With cross-active bristles to loosen and sweep away plaque, a flexible tip to get behind back teeth, and a flexible neck that's gentle on gums. The new Aquafresh Max Active. 3 toothbrushes in one for whole mouth protection.
The more you do, the more your world becomes chaotic and the more you need control. That's the whole philosophy behind the Nissan Almera. It's all about feeling protected in a cocoon. The design translates to the agility of the car. It's kind of a control freak on wheels, but in a good way.
Jonathan Dimbleby invites a studio audience to Ask William Hague in half an hour, followed by the World Music Awards at 11:30. But now the ITV News at 10.
Lord Archer accused of lying to counter sex claims. Hague denies retreat over campaign to save the pound. Jenna Bush in new trouble over underage drinking. And the Queen's support for Norway's troubled royals.
From ITN, the ITV News at 10 with Trevor McDonald.
Good evening. Lord Archer went into the dock at the Old Bailey today to hear the prosecution accuse him of making up an alibi 14 years ago to counter newspaper claims that he'd spent the evening with a prostitute. The court heard how, with his then friend Ted Francis, he'd hatched a plan before his libel case against the Daily Star. In return, Lord Archer had promised to pay Mr. Francis £20,000. Lord Archer denies 8 charges, including perjury and perverting the course of justice. From the Old Bailey, here's Harry Smith.
Lord Archer looked relaxed as he arrived at the Old Bailey. His wife Mary made the journey with him in the car, and in response to shouts from photographers, they lingered on the pavement to pose for the cameras. But she wasn't in court when the trial got underway. The couple's elder son, William, was seen here being ushered through the door by his father. Beside Lord Archer in the dock was Ted Francis. Both are accused of concocting an alibi for the night Lord Archer was said to have spent with the prostitute Monica Coughlin in 1986. It was this allegation in the Star newspaper which caused Lord Archer to resign as deputy chairman of the Conservative Party. Lord Archer sued the paper and won damages of £500,000. But the prosecution say that as well as making up the alibi, he also falsified an appointments diary to cover his tracks. David Waters, QC, outlining the case for the prosecution, told the jury, "What the prosecution say is that when we examine what he did, he was dishonest in relation to the evidence prepared or arranged." The court was told that Lord Archer promised his friend £20,000 after he agreed to help with the alibi. Mr. Waters also told the jury that at the time of these allegations, the defendant was known as Mr. Geoffrey Archer. He's now Lord Archer, he said, but if he'll forgive the familiarity, for brevity and consistency, I will refer to him throughout as simply Geoffrey Archer. Lord Archer left accompanied by his son. He'll be back tomorrow, as he will for the next 4 weeks. The trial is expected to last. Harry Smith, ITN, at the Old Bailey.
William Hague denied a suggestion today that he's toned down his campaign to save the pound after pressure from Poles and from pro-Europeans in his own party. In his campaigning, the Prime Minister promised to clamp down on anyone attacking nurses and teachers. The Liberal Democrat leader Charles Kennedy got some glamorous endorsement of his policies for pensioners. Here's our senior political correspondent, Joe Andrews.
You're going to win all the time. You're even going to beat Wales, eh?
Yeah. William Hague in Stirling with young rugby players in no doubt that they can win. But as this election goes into its last week, there's growing unhappiness amongst some Tories about the decision to keep Europe at the heart of this campaign, as well as questions about whether he is shifting ground. Mr. Hague now appears to have qualified earlier remarks and is saying this election is the last fair chance to save the pound.
No one would get a fair referendum from the Labour Party that they've already rigged the rules for the funding, that they would set a loaded question, that they would choose the timing at their convenience. Therefore, it is our whole case that this is the last fair vote about the pound.
And that allows the Tories still to contest a referendum, making this possibly not the last, but second last chance to save the pound. But all week, Mr. Hague has been sending a different message. The decision to make Europe so crucial has also been attacked by backbench Tories, as another poll seems to suggest it's the least of voters' concerns. One Tory MP, Ian Taylor from Esher, told ITN it's folly to turn a general election, where a whole range of issues is discussed, into a single-issue election. This comes as the first ballots began to be cast. This time more than 2 million people have applied for postal votes. The Prime Minister went to an ambulance station and then, moving on to traditional Tory ground, promised tougher sentences for those who attack public workers.
The teachers and other frontline staff in our public services who do their best by the local community should have the law and the local community on their side against abuse, harassment and violence of any kind.
Although Anne Widdecombe said tonight Labour had consistently allowed those who attack the police to be let out under the early release scheme.
You've played against very many sexy leading men in your day.
This is the best, isn't it? This is the best.
That's the view of former Bond girl Anna Blackman, although Charles Kennedy's impression of James Bond wins no prizes at all. But the prize he's now set his sights on is replacing the Tories as the main opposition. Neither of the two new opinion polls out tonight show much change, but what should worry all politicians is that one of them seems to suggest that only 66% of people are certain to vote this time, well down on the last election. Joe Andrews, ITN, Westminster.
Now, we saw Charles Kennedy in that report by Joe Andrews. Tonight he appealed to people not to vote tactically for Labour and said only the Liberal Democrats could offer credible opposition to a Labour government. He was speaking to our political editor, John Sargent, in the first of a series of interviews with the three party leaders.
Charles Kennedy, you're the only party leader who actually wants to be leader of the opposition.
Leader of the opposition in terms of quality opposition, and maybe one day, it might not be next week, but we live in hope one day that might transfer into quantity opposition.
But many people just think of you as someone who sucks up to Labour and you spend most of your time attacking the Tories. Is that real opposition?
I think our opposition is credible opposition, and the country's going to need credible opposition if Labour end up with yet another three-figure majority after this election. The most telling critique of the government in this election campaign has come from us. It hasn't come from the other opposition party.
Has it come from you because you now see yourself as a left-wing party, that Labour has moved so far away from the left wing that there's a place for you there?
The most socially progressive party, without any shadow of a doubt. I don't think the terms left and right any longer apply in British politics, but I think we're ahead of Labour, and I want to maintain that position until polling day in terms of ideas and principles.
Do you think you've got across to people what you're really like? There are some opinion polls which show that you have Eurosceptic supporters who don't realise you're in favour of the single currency.
I think we have got over, by and large, what we're like. And what you need to remember, particularly in an election like this, where the other two parties are being so airbrushed and sanitised in a way, appealing only to certain target groups, we're trying to range far and wide as a party because we need people to come and support us who haven't supported us before.
If someone comes to you and says, in my constituency, the Liberal Democrats don't have a chance, should I support Labour? What do you say to them?
My answer is no, for two reasons. One, that every national vote that we get helps me make the case for voting reform so that people aren't put in this dilemma. But secondly, another Labour backbench MP, if there's a huge Tony Blair majority, what difference does that make to anything?
What about your style of leadership? Some people think you're too amiable, you're too nice.
Well, of all the criticisms that can be hurled at you, and no doubt there'll be more to come in the next week, I think being reasonably genial and showing that you've got a life and a temperament that stretches beyond the blinkers of party politics is not a bad one.
But don't nice guys come last?
There's always a first for everything.
What about your personal life? Obviously, one of the issues that interests people, whether you like it or not, is the presence often at your side during this campaign of Sarah Girling.
Yeah.
Are you going to follow Gordon Brown's example after the election and marry him?
Both of us are political animals, but both of us are private people too, with a world outside politics and friendships outside politics. And we're not going to blur the distinctions of the two. Certainly not for the purposes of votes and ballot boxes a week today.
Charles Candy, thank you very much.
Okay.
And John Sargent will be interviewing Mr. Blair and Mr. Hague over the next 2 days. John, was Charles Kennedy really telling people not to vote tactically?
Well, that's his formal position. I'm sure he believes it. But of course, he knows that people will vote tactically. And last time it was an enormous help for the Liberal Democrats because Labour supporters went behind the Liberal Democrats in order to get rid of the Tories. Some of that could be helpful for Charles Kennedy this time. He knows that perfectly well.
On the Conservative campaign, how strong is the discontent among Conservative candidates over the direction of this campaign?
Well, there was that surprising intervention by these two former ministers, Stephen Dorrell and Ian Taylor, who are both standing at this election. I've talked to them. They're standing by their comments. They're openly critical of William Hague for concentrating too much on Europe. If the opinion polls are right, and the Tories do very badly, an inquest will start up with an extraordinary ferocity on the Conservative side. And there's no doubt the key question will be, was this election fought on too narrow a ground by William Hague?
John Sargent, thank you. The two scientists advising the government on fighting foot and mouth are blaming farmers for the new clusters of cases in North Yorkshire and Lancashire. Farmers are furious. The scientists say the farmers must stick to the rules on moving animals. Tim Rogers has our report.
In the empty farmyards near Clitheroe, where just 2 days ago there were herds of animals, a question hangs over the silence. Why did the disease suddenly appear here, and were adequate precautions taken to stop it spreading? Farmer Michael Bolton is convinced that he did everything he could.
People thought when the cases were dying down that they was going to, you know, relax a bit. I mean, even we felt like we should relax a bit, but we still kept our disinfectant procedures and everything else. I mean, what more can you do?
But at a news conference, the government's chief vet said some farmers have been complacent.
They've been put in place by some farmers and not by others, and like everything else, some people implement, some people don't. But I think what we've got to urge farmers to do is, whether they've got disease in their areas or they haven't got disease in their areas, they have to think that they might be coming into contact with infected animals, they might be spreading disease, and they need to take these precautions.
Farmers near Clitheroe insist they've done everything they can to stop foot and mouth. They say it would simply not have been in their interest to do otherwise. Here in Lancashire, the Ministry of Agriculture has moved quickly to seal farms and stop the disease spreading. But while there have been no new cases reported for 3 days, it's still far too soon to say whether any new outbreak might suddenly spring up and that the crisis is finally over. Tim Rogers, ITN, in the Ribble Valley.
The latest on the foot and mouth crisis. We're taking a break now, but there's more to come on tonight's ITV News at 10, including more drink problems for President Bush's daughter, the great tax debate, the party's plans for your money, and what the Queen said today to her Norwegian cousins. All that and the news from your area when we come back.
Dad's good at golf, isn't he?
Well, he's got time to practice. He doesn't have to go to work every day like Daddy.
Why?
He's retired.
Standard Life pensions perform consistently well, so you can spend your retirement doing exactly what you want to do.
Just think, James, when you're Grandad's age, you can play golf every day.
He still won't be able to hit the thing.
Standard Life, for pensions, investments, healthcare and banking.
You never know when you might need an overdraft. At the Royal Bank of Scotland, we don't charge a single penny in fees on agreed overdrafts. How did we know that's what you wanted? Well, don't we all?
What's this? No fees?
That's right.
For more details, call into your local branch now.
Have you noticed that furniture is fashion? Everybody wants a trendy sofa. But unlike fashion, sofas need to last. And that means quality. At CSL, you get fashion and quality. With a 5-year guarantee on sofas we make especially for you. There's lots of choice, factory prices, and up to 4 years interest-free credit. At CSL, there's a lot more to fashion than meets the eye. Now open at Manchester Road Retail Park, Stockport.
Do start.
So what are you driving these days? Honda Accord?
Yeah.
Happy with it?
Yeah.
Kids' choice.
Yeah. Well, it's got a reinforced aluminium VTEC with variable valve timing and lift. I couldn't drive one of those run-of-the-mill cars like you know what I mean.
Does this taste all right to everyone?
Bread? Anyone?
For years, your skin has been changing. We can help you say stop. Stop! Discover new Garnier Synergie Stop, our first daily moisturizer that fights the signs of aging with the power of pure retinol and pure vitamin C. Tests show the multi-action formula reduces the appearance of fine lines and visible pores, smooths the complexion and brightens skin tone. Now that is something to celebrate. New Garnier Synergie Stop. Make time wait.
Go on, laugh. Of course you can. Designed for small bladder problems, new Tena Lady Ultra Mini is as discreet as a panty liner and drier than a thin sanitary towel. Tena Lady Ultra Mini. Laugh, move, live.
No, I don't think I have a win for you today. I got a Feng Shui consultant coming. Oh, that's him now. Gotta go.
Call me Zane. Let us begin. It's done.
Welcome back. Jenna Bush, daughter of the American president, is in trouble again over underage drinking. This time it's even more serious than it was a month ago. Then it was drinking alcohol. Today it was trying to buy alcohol using someone else's ID card. James Mates has more.
It is less than a month since 19-year-old Jenna Bush was in court charged with underage drinking and ordered to do 8 hours of community service. Undeterred, she has again been trying to buy an illicit beer, this time at a Mexican restaurant in Austin, Texas. It's alleged she borrowed a friend's ID card and tried to pass herself off as over 21. The waiter wasn't fooled and called the police. Her twin sister, Barbara, is thought to have been in the restaurant as well, though it's not clear what her involvement may have been. There has been no comment from the White House or from their father, President George Bush. He is now teetotal, though his hard drinking past is well known. He and his wife Laura have tried very hard to keep their daughters out of the media spotlight. The last time they appeared with the girls at an official event was at the inauguration in January. But these incidents are making it very hard for the daughters to stay in the background. Almost nowhere else in the Western world, of course, would it be an offence for a 19-year-old to try and buy a beer. So none of this suggests Jenna Bush has a drinking problem as such. But on the other hand, it is against the law, and for the President's daughter to be caught breaking the law twice in a month will not go down well in the Bush household. James Mates, ITN, Washington.
We return to the election now for a closer look at one of its main themes. Later this week, we're examining the main party's policies on health and on crime. But we begin tonight with tax. Here's our economics editor, Caroline Kerr.
However much voters may be concerned about social issues, there's one more basic matter which can win or lose an election. It's the question of money. How much of what we earn we keep for ourselves to spend as we choose, and how much we hand back to the government.
What do you like, drawing or painting? Or...
The Liberal Democrats say if they were in government, they'd take more of our money, but spend it on schools and hospitals.
We will need to ask people for a penny on income tax, costing just a couple of pounds a week for the typical taxpayer, to invest in education. And for people lucky enough to earn over £100,000 a year, we'll ask them for a little more too, and that will transform the National Health Service and increase pensions.
So the Liberal Democrats would put a penny on the basic rate of income tax. They'd introduce a new 50% rate on earnings over £100,000, and they'd also extend the tax threshold.
I think he's better at figures than me.
Gordon Brown is confident his figures add up. He says Labour can improve public services without raising income tax levels. But would he hammer middle-income earners by charging them more national insurance?
There will be no 50% tax rate, as the Conservatives allege. What we will do is get the balance right between more tax cuts that are affordable, such as for pensioners and for savers and for people in work, public investments that are essential, like in health and education, and of course the stability that is the foundation of everything that we do.
Labour then says there'll be no increase in the higher or basic rates of income tax. They'll extend the threshold of the 10p tax band and expand the children's tax credit to up to £1,000 a year. The Tories promise cuts in tax, including petrol duty, but there's confusion about the figures. The manifesto promises cuts of £8 billion. The Treasury spokesman reportedly talks of £20 billion.
We're absolutely clear, and the manifesto sets it out very clearly, and I expect no opposition has ever been so clear before. We will save £8 billion against the government's spending plans in the first 2 years and deliver £8 billion worth of tax cuts in the first 2 years.
So the Tories are promising £8 billion worth of tax cuts, and that includes cutting 6p off a litre of petrol and abolishing basic rate tax on savings and dividends.
With just over a week to go, it's now down to voters to decide whose promises and whose policies should best be trusted to be implemented here at number 11. Caroline Kerr, ITN, Downing Street.
And the new ITV election website has more election information, including an easy-to-use constituency guide to all the candidates. The site at www.itvelection.co.uk also has a behind-the-scenes look at ITV's election coverage. I'll be back with how the Queen and her Norwegian relatives shared their family problems today. But first, the news from your area.
Good evening. Councillors meeting in Oldham have expressed their thanks to Greater Manchester Police for the way they've dealt with the recent disturbances on the streets. Most of the borough's 60 councillors have attended the special meeting convened in the wake of racial violence in the town since Saturday night. They were assured that measures are in place to contain any further disorder in the coming days. The local authority has promised to write to every shop and business damaged during the violence to see what help it can offer. Another case of foot and mouth disease has been confirmed near Northwich in Cheshire, the third in as many days. The outbreak at Crowley brings the total of incidents in the county to 14. Meanwhile, farmers in Lancashire are angry that the Ministry of Agriculture is blaming them for the recent spread of the virus, and some claim that not enough is being done by MAF to help farmers caught in the middle of the infected zone. Emily Knowles reports.
As the number of cases slowly declined and the countryside gradually reopened, many believed we were near the end of foot and mouth. But not so for the farming community of Clitheroe in Lancashire. Of the 7 new cases, 1 lies here in Paythorne, a few miles outside the town. Every farm bar 1 here has had its animals culled. At the remaining 1, there's fear and confusion. Alison Redmayne was expecting MAF officials days ago, but has heard nothing.
We've not seen enough of them. I don't think they communicate enough, really. They was meant to be here at the weekend and we've still not heard from them yet.
3 of the new cases in Clitheroe are believed to be linked to those in Settle and are being blamed on the movement of animals and people. But farmers feel the finger is being pointed at them.
There is a lot of anger. I've been speaking to a lot of the local farmers, and they're all expressing the same anger and disgust about the suggestion that they are possibly to blame for, the movement of the virus within the area.
Agreement has been reached on compensation for families of oil workers killed in a plane crash in the Mediterranean, 2 of them from the northwest. Roy Parfitt from Cheshire and John Morton from Birkenhead were among 22 people who lost their lives last year. The Shorts aircraft they were travelling on ditched 5 miles from its destination, a refinery at Marsa El Brega in Libya. A deal worth a total of £2.5 million has been accepted by the families. An assault case against the former Assistant Chief Constable of Merseyside has been adjourned. Alison Halford from Ewloe in North Wales was summoned in connection with an alleged incident involving a taxi driver. She's accused of common assault and a public order offence. 60-year-old Miss Halford is currently a member of the Welsh Assembly. She didn't attend today's hearing in Wrexham, which was adjourned until the 18th of June. Merseyside Fire Authority has accused the Fire Brigades Union of resorting too readily to ballots for industrial action. The authority has issued a statement claiming the union has a ballot or bust approach to industrial relations. It says the constant threat of industrial action is damaging Merseyside's image and discouraging potential investors. The accusation comes as the FBU prepares to ballot for strike action over the authority's plans to employ non-uniformed staff in management positions. A piece of equipment which could take the sting out of visiting the dentist has arrived in the northwest. The new injection system could be the answer for those with a fear of needles. Victoria Rouse has been finding out more.
The needle syringe was invented 140 years ago, and ever since, dentists have held a reign of terror over their patients. But for needle phobics, developments at the sharp end of technology could be just the prescription needed for a pain-free checkup. Salford dentist Jeremy Cooper has decided to stop giving his patients the needle to take away the fear factor of visiting his surgery.
There is a good proportion who do have a needle phobia, and there's a much larger number of people who just don't like injections, and if there was an alternative, they certainly would prefer it.
The new system works by shooting a stream of anaesthetic through the gum under high pressure without using a needle.
I hate needles. I hate the sensation of a needle going in my gum. I hate needles anywhere. I'm just scared of them. It's a different sensation. I felt a thud, but it was nothing compared to a needle going in my gum, so I much prefer that than the needle.
Although the system will never replace all needles, it might just give new meaning when the dentist says, "Now this won't hurt a bit."
A convoy of canal boats has left Wigan on a 3-day trip to Liverpool ahead of the Mersey River Festival. The highlight of the voyage will be when the 55 vessels pass the Liver buildings on the Mersey itself to reach the Albert Dock. Andy Bonner reports from Wigan.
The convoy set off early this morning from Wigan Pier. It will pick up boats along the Leeds and Liverpool Canal until it reaches the river.
It's a very good journey actually on the canal. It's very it's quiet, it's relaxing. The river, on the other hand, can be a bit less relaxing, shall we say, because obviously we're going up the river, we're going from an inland waterway onto the River Mersey. But I mean that's part of the fun of taking part in the River Festival.
It's the second time a convoy has made this journey, but it's hoped plans for a new canal link along the waterfront in Liverpool will make it a regular occurrence.
We've got 4 proposals for creating a canal link in Liverpool to connect the central and southern docks. 2 of those routes go along the Strand, the highway there, and 2 go in front of the 3 Graces, the Liver building, the Cunard building and the Mersey Docks and Harbour building.
Public consultation for the plans gets underway after the River Festival, which begins on the 8th of June.
And that's all from the newsroom this Wednesday evening. We're back with another bulletin at around 6:10 in GMTV, but now it's back to news at 10.
Hello again. At a banquet in Oslo tonight, the Queen spoke of her family ties with the Norwegian King. But she didn't talk about the family problems they have in common. A warning, Libby Wiener's report contains flash photography.
A state banquet fit for any king or queen. But this one had more of the flavour of a family get-together. The Queen acknowledging Norway's taste for anything British.
Our cultural ties are also strong. Norway seems to have a large appetite for the works of British artists of every kind, from Brit art to Brit pop.
She and King Harold are second cousins. He greeted her with a kiss on both cheeks earlier in the day. They then inspected the King's Guard, conscripts from Norway's army, which helps train British soldiers. The two royal families share other mutual concerns. The Norwegian Crown Prince's choice of partner makes headlines here in much the same way as Prince Charles's love life does at home. Joining the official photo, his fiancée, Mette Marit, who's 27 and a single mother. Her son Marius's father has a drugs conviction, and she attended so-called house parties in the 1990s. Queen Sonja seems to have accepted her future step-grandchild, but the public is not so sure. Tomorrow, the British royal party turns its gaze seaward. HMS Illustrious here to help promote Britain's defence and shipping interests. Libby Wiener, ITN, Oslo.
Tonight's main headline again. The trial of Lord Archer for perjury and perverting the course of justice began at the Old Bailey today. And that's tonight's news at 10. Next on ITV, Ask William Hague with Jonathan Dimbleby. But from all of us here, goodbye.
Powergen, gas, electricity and telephone.
Hello, good evening. Well, today's showers take their time to die away tonight, and they actually continue in the north and west. Clear slots in the far north with temperatures down as low as 5 degrees. Now into tomorrow morning, and in the south we do so on a dry note, bright, even manage some sunshine. Further north, showers virtually from the word go. Then during the course of the day, that cloud builds up and we've showery rain pushing into Northern Ireland, into parts of Scotland as well. Further south, it's a case of these showers breaking up virtually anywhere at all. And with our temperatures tomorrow in the south, a shade cooler than today, 20 to 68 in Fahrenheit. Further north, very similar sorts of values to today. Remember our website address, it's www.itv-weather.co.uk. That's all from me. Here's our weather summary.
Powergen, gas, electricity and telephone.
It's 20 years since the Yorkshire Ripper was jailed, but the hoaxer is still at large.
I see you are still having no luck catching me.
Beginning a new series of high-profile investigations.
I didn't guess at the time, but yes, it was his voice on the tapes.
Will the hoaxer's true identity ever be known?
I believe a serving officer made that tape.
Real crime seen in a different light. The Hunt for Wearside Jack. Next Wednesday after the ITV News at 10.
Tomorrow, House of Fraser are taking millions of pounds off thousands of items in fashion, homewares, electricals and furniture, but only for one day. So if you don't go tomorrow, you'll miss it. The House of Fraser One Day Spectacular, tomorrow from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m.
Conventional washing machines have only one drum. Your clothes go round and round. The new Dyson machine has two drums that turn in opposite directions at the same time, so your clothes move in a totally different way. This two-drum wash action is more efficient and twice as fast at releasing dirt from your cottons. And of course, with two drums, the Dyson will even wash a king-size duvet. The new Dyson washing machine. Two-drum, not humdrum.
Over on ITV2 now, David Letterman exchanges recipes and conversation with celebrity chef Jamie Oliver. But here, Jonathan Dimbleby invites a studio audience to pose questions to the leader of the Conservative Party in Ask William Hague.